All right, here we go. The mighty return of DL Hughley back on Vlad TV.
You better believe it. And we both skinnier now.
That's right. That's right. Well, losing weight, looking good.
For sure.
Well, first of all, congratulations. You were nominated for the Radio Hall of Fame this year.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Big deal.
It's funny because I never thought about it. I didn't even know till, hey man, I do what I do and I love what I do and all that stuff. It'll be what it is. But I don't put too much stock in it. 10 million people listen to me every day. I got to be grateful for it.
And right after our last interview, you spoke at the DNC.
I did. Well, we talked. Yeah, we talked.
Yeah, no, I mean, you were talking about possibly doing it.
Yeah.
I think beforehand, but we didn't mention it because it wasn't 100%. Then next thing you know, I'm watching you on TV.
Look how much good it did.
Well, listen, I voted for Kamala.
Me too.
I tried.
I actually think she won, but I don't think I don't think that you can have that many powerful white men who are in tech and media, and that many powerful judges, like when they let Elon, give $1 million to people in Philly and people in Wisconsin. I just didn't think, and I thought they controlled social media with Zuckerberg and Musk, and they controlled, mass media with Murdoch. So I just thought that many billionaires lied against her, arrayed against her, wasn't gonna work. But I did what I did. I did what I believe in, and fuck it, we'll take the chips for all what they make.
Look, I had a couple of tweets go viral during this time, and I said that her media strategy was just awful because I was in contact with her media team to do an interview, and ultimately it never happened. But more so than just me, like her not doing Joe Rogan and a lot of the other really popular podcasts.
No matter what would have happened, this country, people got to understand this. This country has never had a female black executive of a state. Two of the most qualified people in my estimation to run for president were beaten by Donald Trump. I'm gonna start calling Donald Trump Ike because he beats girls. he only beats broads.
Well, we have a lot to talk about.
Sure do.
And I think the first thing we should tackle is the whole Ice Cube, Aries Spears situation.
Yeah.
And you actually called me.
I called you, yeah.
You called me about this because you actually spoke directly to Aries about this whole situation.
Right.
I just interviewed Aries yesterday.
Right.
And I mentioned the conversation. And so forth. He goes, yeah, that absolutely happened.
Right.
Now, what's your take on this whole thing?
I think that first off, Ice Cube is my favorite rapper, one of my all-time favorite. Now, I don't think obviously I voiced my opinions about what he's done, I think, politically. I think I didn't necessarily like that when, years ago when he wanted to talk to the Biden campaign and they had all these other people that he wanted to be in by himself. And it was so, and then some of the things he's done with Trump and Fox. But talent-wise, I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of great rappers.
I agree.
So I don't have that. I mean, I could separate my personal objections to things. I thought and I said this to Aries, and I said to you, I thought you cannot say these strident things to people and then make a video saying, "Am I not allowed to?" You don't need to ask for permission when you already did it. You're not allowed to. But you did it already.
You already did it.
I thought you can't say it's not personal when you go on about that long. You can't sell a man's character, his life's work, and for that long and not have it turn personal. And I said, and if you're gonna do that, that's fine. I'm the last motherfucker to tell somebody to do something different. But don't make a video trying to nuance it or explain it. If you're going to say it, stand on it. And I had that conversation with him. I called you to tell you I was going to have a conversation
right.
with him. But I love him. Yeah. I don't necessarily like the way... listen, I have my own relationship. I've known Aaron since he was a kid, a literal kid. And I'm proud of the comic he is. I think that a lot of times he puts himself in situations that are not necessarily the wisest, but he's a grown man. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, look, he's a regular on my show. The conversation about Ice Cube happened primarily on my show, although he didn't touch on it.
It happened on your show.
Yeah, he touched on it before, which is why I even brought it up. And Ice Cube responded to it.
Of course.
Called him a sucker.
Of course.
And said that he doesn't know who he is, but he's not funny. And, Aries kind of pointed out. He gave a standard Ice Cube answer.
Listen, I can hold both ideas. Ice Cube is one of my favorite hip-hop, probably my favorite rapper.
Period.
Period. Of all, like, period.
Okay. I can see an argument for that.
I don't like what he does with the Trump thing. I'm like, how are you in a movie called Anaconda and you don't recognize a snake when you see one? But that aside, in Aries, I think I've seen some of the things they say about Aries. I think he's a hardworking, just extremely talented dude. I think he's judgmental, and like everybody who has an opinion or who voices their opinion for their vocation is. And so I just think Aries, in my estimation, I think professionally, I wish that people would give him more grace, but I wish he'd be worthy of it sometime too.
Well, what's ironic is that right after he called out Ice Cube for, what he felt wasn't being a great actor, War of the Worlds came out and got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
There's one clip in particular that's going viral.
I don't want to see it.
Can I just play it for you real quick? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
This is a scene from War of the Worlds. I want you to listen to the dialogue that Ice Cube laid down in the scene.
Here, let me show you. These locations are our global response headquarters, our most sensitive targets, and they're taking them out one by one. Based on their prioritized destruction of these critical intelligence command centers, my analysis suggests nuclear power facilities are next. Electric grids will follow, leaving us completely helpless.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. You have done, you've been on TV shows, movies. Right. You understand how the filming process works. Right. That sounds like a table read.
Yeah. It does. There's no way around it.
Like, there's a director that said, cut. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next scene.
The director said, that's as good as we getting right now. That's
Sorry,
hey, listen, man. I'm the last. I was in Soul Plane, so who the fuck am I to talk about somebody?
Soul Plane had better acting than that.
It did.
It really did. Lie. That was a Scorsese film compared to what we just watched.
Was on set. It wasn't. Let me tell you. He should. You know what he just did? He should have just played. He was the wrong nigga to fuck with. That's what he said. But it seems like Aries paid for that clip to come out, so I'm wrong. It seems like that.
He bribed the director to prove his point.
I'll say he's my favorite rapper.
That's your favorite actor?
Not my favorite. He did a movie with Tracy Ellis Ross where he played her manager. He was great in.
He was great in Friday.
He was great in Friday.
Boys in the Hood. He was great in Barbershop.
But War of the Worlds, listen.
He was great in All About the Benjamins.
When aliens come down, I'm just saying, I'm not a screenplay writer. I'm not. But when aliens come down, you don't want the lead from MWA to be the one to hand out the intelligence. Maybe the nigga that did No Vaseline shouldn't be doing intelligence briefings for us being attacked from a...
Yeah, like when I heard that, I had to really check myself and say, okay, wait, is this really...
I was determined not to see it because I saw it on TikTok and all that kind of shit. I was determined not to see it. You know what I mean? But it is,
Sure,
without a death, there can't be a resurrection, baby.
Sure, it was a nice check.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got paid for it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You can't go from killing niggas on Boys in the Hood to Are We There Yet? I mean, come on now. That's a hell of a turn.
That is a big turn.
For sure.
But do I think that Ice Cube is on a Will Smith level in terms of acting? When you talk about rappers turn actors? No. But does he play Ice Cube very well on the screen? Absolutely.
I love him so much up until, because I have a thing. If you do something, if you fuck with Trump, I can't fuck with you on any level. That's just my thing.
Okay.
But before that, I paid to see all his movies. Every one of them.
Okay. Yeah, so did I.
But
listen, he was great.
Artistically, he did something that I responded to.
I mean, when you look at, the quote unquote hood movies, right? Most people put Friday on the top of that list.
I think not even that. I think if you look at the lexicon of movies black people fuck with.
Okay.
In the top 20, the Fridays, both of them will be on it. 1 and 2? I think, yeah, I do. I think both of them. Listen, I was playing. I remember when Chris Tucker used to open for me. After that shit was over, I only saw that was it. So whatever. And I was in Cleveland when it broke, and I was like, it was a cultural phenomenon. I was playing the State Theater in Cleveland, and Chris and I were working together, and Chris came out, and it was insane. And I hadn't seen the movie yet. And I went, something happened.
Something happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he was even supposed to be in that film. Like, originally, you know, he was like...
After that, this motherfucker started making Jackie karate movies. So,
Right.
you know, it's...
Well, I had Faison Love on the show yesterday, and he said that Ice Cube called him and said that, you know, the film's actually happening. Allegedly, the name of the title is This Friday, and he's naming all the people that were in it and so forth. I think it's finally going to happen. I think we're going to get another Friday movie.
Well, I tell you what, man. Mopar, it's a classic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, listen, there are very few movies in that genre. I thought that Godfather 2 was better than Godfather 1.
I agree.
I thought the second Friday was as good as the first one. And that very rarely happens.
I disagree, but I could see why someone would say that.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was because one, I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen a movie like that's my neighborhood. Ronald Reiser, who was grew up in my neighborhood. That dude, the dude who played the dude with the ascot, that guy grew up in my neighborhood. We grew up talking shit about each other.
What, the guy with the lawn?
Yeah.
Excuse me, you said the lawn, please?
Yeah. He grew up in my neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
In the other part of my neighborhood. I grew up in the Hole. He grew up in Town Plaza. So, but the movie was reflective of the experiences in L.A. And I thought you should leave that alone because there's nothing you can do with it. But once they did the second one, I was like, this is even better.
Well, yeah, that introduced the world to Mike Epps. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't like it as much as Chris Tucker was in it. And I was just a huge Chris Tucker fan.
I thought Day Day was... I just thought the way that I interviewed Q years ago, and he has a affinity for Mike Epps. You know, and I can see why, because they've done a lot of stuff together. They are like, remember Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier?
Yeah.
They're like that.
See that? Yeah, All About the Benjamins was great.
So it's Sidney. So I think that no matter what happens now, people forget Sam Jackson's a bad motherfucker. But he did Black Snake. He did Snakes on the Plane too.
Because he did.
Jamie Foxx, you know, won for Ray, but he did Booty Call. Let's stop. Come on.
He did Bait.
So let's stop. People can, you know. I'm not saying he's on that level, but I am saying that he has made movies that I fuck with.
Well, when I interviewed Faison and we talked about the whole thing with Aries, he actually brought him up. And he basically did a breakdown. He's like, well, look, when you look at the cultural impact of Ice Cube in terms of people,
I saw it.
You know, he starts naming everybody, you know, Mike Epps, Cat Williams, Chris Tucker, himself, Faison, like all these people.
Let me
He's
tell
like,
you
okay, well, what about Aries? Well, what does he contribute? And I'm like, Aries is a great stand-up. He did Mad TV.
What would the culture be without an Ice Cube?
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have NWA without Ice Cube.
NWA, Eazy-E, huh?
Yeah. Dr. Dre.
Chris Tucker,
True.
Faison Love, Mike Epps, Boys in the Hood.
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, say Cat Williams.
That was his first movie role, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Boys in the Hood.
Yep.
The movie and the song.
John Singleton.
John Singleton. Huh?
Yeah.
Now, what would the culture be without Raccoon Blood?
Aries Spears.
What has he contribute to the culture?
Mad TV.
Come on, no.
Mad TV.
No.
He's a great stand-up.
How about
He's a great stand-up comedian.
No.
Yes, he is.
Come on, Vlad, you gotta be honest.
I am honest.
I said, how could the culture go on?
He's a fucking spectacular stand-up.
That's what I said.
Here's the thing. When we're talking about Ice Cube, World Series, when he did the World Series and had everybody, you know, vibe, and that was so L.A., and then they tried to do New York Yankees with Fat Joe, it just wasn't. He's imbued in the psyche and the fabric of Los Angeles. So it's harder, and I think because Aries is from the East, I think he has a more traditional perspective about what hip hop is. Like ours is greasier. You know what I mean? They're the brightest human beings I've ever met, the most erudite human beings I've ever met are from the East. But the most soulful, humane, connected people I've ever met, like, are from the West. Like, you got to remember, yeah, you had Martin Luther King and you had, civil rights leaders that were out that way, but the Black Panthers started here.
Yeah.
And in addition to standing up to the government, they gave people free lunch. The free lunch program in America started because niggas decided we wasn't having this no more. Black men, in their response to their treatment of the Klan, fostered this thing that the American government followed and gave everybody free lunch. What did the Klan do to inspire anything?
Yeah.
I mean, tiki torches and fire. I mean, I guess that's good, but the fact that they were so politically adept, so astute, and also did something that in their wake left them better. Like somebody said this before, we still got the Klan, we still got white nationalists. We don't have Black Panthers anymore, not to that degree.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, Black Lives Matter almost was trying to take that role, and ultimately you saw that at the end it just fell apart due to greed and so forth. Where everyone looks at
I don't think it was just greed.
BLM as it's not viewed positively anymore because of all the house purchases and everything else like that.
There was only so much patience people have for hearing about black people suffering. This country does not have a long history of that. So it's just, I think that they're just like Kamala. You could say whatever, a campaign, they were not going to vote for a black woman. They weren't. And I think that there are black men in this country and Latin men in this country who inherently believe that white men are superior. They do.
I mean, you could say that, but Obama won twice.
Obama won twice. Because he put a coalition of people together. And you know what the interesting about that statistic is? A lot of people that voted for Obama voted for Trump. That's not me. Look it up.
I believe you.
A lot of people that voted for Obama voted for Trump.
I don't try to go against your stats.
Right.
I've tried it before. I've always failed.
So what does that say to you?
Yeah.
What it says to you is we tried it.
Well, listen, I voted for Kamala. I felt there was not an excitement over Kamala the way there was over Obama. Like, honestly. There just was not an excitement. I feel like you kind of knew who Obama was. You didn't really know who Kamala was. She was very guarded. She did very controlled interviews. You didn't really get a feel for who she was as a person. You didn't see her vulnerability. You didn't see her real personality.
She's better than a dude who's accused of pedophilia.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's not true, but at least you knew who he was.
No. Here's the thing. When it comes to black people, particularly black women, they have to be a couple of things. And I have to own the part I played in this. So we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. I always feel bad about saying the things I said before I had a conversation with her.
Right, saying that she got a bunch of black men locked up when she was a DA.
And you don't get to buy that back.
Yeah.
So I have to take my part in the part I played and the way people saw her. Like you got 10, 12 million people listen to you, then you might some of the things you say might be heard. But I think it was, and the thing I can't reconcile with myself is how willingly I did it. Like, it shouldn't have took me going to have it. I should have looked before I left, and I didn't. And, I think part of the thing, part of people's perception of her, part of her, the things she couldn't shake had to do with some of the things that I let be said and participated in. And I think people oftentimes hear your accusation, never your apology. And so that's something I'll have to own.
What do you think, for example, Nelly, who got criticized for performing at one of Trump's, events, and when they asked him about it, he said, well, why are they criticizing me? I have a black woman with black children. Kamala is married to a white guy.
See that?
Remember that?
That's a refuge of that. Here's the thing. I don't begrudge anybody their artistic vantage point. But two of the things that he said right away, and I like Nelly, but two of the things he said right away that I took umbrage with was, I respect the office. He doesn't. Trump doesn't. When you try to subvert the will of the people, when you have eroded every tenet that is supposed to be held sacred in America. You have little, when you denigrate the people who've served militarily, whether it be John McCain, and you won't go to his funeral because you don't like him, or saying that people who serve in the military are suckers. So there is a disconnect between your respect for the country and his lack of it. You swear an oath to the Constitution, but you can't be asked later on in life, don't you think you owe allegiance to the Constitution? You like, I don't know. Nelly can do whatever he does, and I think that that's fine. But do not now. And if it were working out, do you know who are the most impacted by Trump's policies? 350,000 black men, women have lost their job. Our history's eroded. And the dude who sold Honey Nut Cheerios helped. Now, I can only tell you this. I'll never forget you did it. Anybody who did this. And I hate how quiet they are now. You see how shit is now. It's funny because 2 weeks ago, I do this thing on TMZ, and everybody was like, oh, the tariff, Bill Maher says the tariffs hasn't impacted people like he said he would. He was driving down the street, and 3 days later, the jobs report came out. So the street he drives on the streets that my family lives on. Mm-hmm. My history's eroded. It is the people that I love and look like me who've lost their job. The unemployment rate for black people hasn't been this high since COVID. So yes, if you're a white guy and you drive down the street and you go to Beverly Hills, it does look different to you. Drive down to Manchester, see how that looks. And he helped doing it. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have the right artistically to do it, but stop pretending like now you did this noble thing and because you married a black woman, you married a black woman, but look how many black women were hurt by his policies. Look how many black women have lost their jobs. When he went after DEI, when he went after government jobs, he knew who that would be. Mm-hmm. And so to pretend like you don't know that, your black woman is fine. What about the millions of others who aren't? Your black woman is fine. How's Harriet Tubman doing?
Wasn't she supposed to be on a $20 bill?
Yeah. That was funny because even his initial incarnation, they were going to put Harriet Tubman on the front and Andrew Jackson on the back. So you have a slave on the front.
Wait, are they really doing that?
They were going to. They were
going to do that?
It was a slave on the front and a slave owner on the back. So even when black people make it the money, we still got a supervisor.
Still got a supervisor.
Harriet breaks over, time to get back to work.
I'm watching from the other side.
Right. For sure.
Don't steal anything.
Right. But I hate when people try to you made a decision. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I could tell you, and I don't think this information is publicly out, so I can't go into specifics, but I know someone who ended a major project with Snoop after he performed at Trump's event. He basically said, I didn't sign up for this shit. And this is like a real artist who told me this. I don't think it's actually out, so I can't say, but
me and Snoop
a major project with Snoop got canceled because this guy said, oh, you're doing that? Nah, I'm good. So there's lots of people like you that are like, basically hold the line. I said,
me and Snoop had the worst argument.
Really?
We argued.
Over Trump?
When after this thing happened, he'll tell you, we talked for 2 hours shouting at each other.
Huh.
Snoop, I loved him so much. I grew up in LA on 135th and Avalon. And when he got in trouble, I prayed for a crib. Nigga, do you know what it's like to pray for? I prayed.
Prayed for a crib.
I prayed that he would be all right.
Dear God, let this gangbanger
please
beat this murder case.
I thought right. Because I thought he has so much. He's one of the most famous human beings on the face of the earth.
100%.
And the thing about Snoop, I thought his heart was in the right place, but I thought theirs wasn't. Never take nothing from them. But the minute while he was on stage doing what he was doing, what was Elon Musk doing? Snoop said, if you ever perform for him, he had one vantage point, 8 years earlier and another one. So Snoop's argument was with Snoop, not with us. It was internal. So he changed who he was. We didn't. And I didn't like when he tried to make it seem as if black people don't sit together. We did. 92% of black men voted against him. 86% of black men. We stuck together. You didn't. So, and I love him. We argued. We fought. At the end of it, we came to a thing. I just hated that they used. What they do is they buy the shit they can't make. And they bought his gravitas and his weight.
Oh, yeah.
It hurt my feelings when I saw Elon Musk do that to him.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a huge check for that. Huge check.
All right. So
but,
did you.
But then again, Snoop is already wealthy. So I'm sure that check made no difference in his overall life.
I think that for Nelly was an entirely different thing. I think he's a talented man. I think he did what he did. Snoop was ours. The Pantheon, the Panthers, and NWA, and Ice Cube, and Dre, and Snoop, they belong to us. They belong to us. And I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking in LA, the only thing, there are 3 or 4 things that black people and Latin people agree on here. The Dodgers, you know, right? We fuck with them. The Lakers, USC, and NWA, Snoop, Dre, you know, Kendrick, all them people, they belong to us. And he was able to do that. I was a young dude, and I prayed for a dude that was from somewhere. He's from Long Beach. All them Creek niggas, them insane niggas. He was
all right, wait, I forgot. You were a blood.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the funnier part of the story.
And I grew up.
You were a blood praying for a Crip.
And I prayed for him.
To beat a murder. The guy who got killed, was he a blood or a Crip?
I don't even remember, but I prayed. I was like, I prayed for him. I have never seen, until Kendrick now, I'd never seen anybody from where I'm from, the area I'm from, the place I'm from, do what Snoop did. This nigga was doing, on the Olympics, being exactly who he was, he had to be nothing different. Martha Stewart being exactly who he was, he didn't have to do nothing different. And the fact that they saw that and said, I'm gonna buy that. That's a lot.
Well, Faizon Love is facing up to 7 years for felony assault, including great bodily injury.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's stressed out over this.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, he's really stressed out. And you know, we touched on it very slightly because it's an open case. I don't want to have anything in that video be used against him. But, you know, ultimately, he just feels sad because this is his home city. It was San Diego. He came back for a funeral, goes to a hotel, and, you know, there's a problem with the booking, and then something happened, and ultimately he was arrested for it. But yeah, he's 57 years old, facing 7 years and a felony. It's sad, man.
You know what the saddest part about it is? They never get you early, they get you late.
Get you at the end? Right when you're about to just ride off in the sunset with your legacy?
And I think, for me, the saddest part about this is it's so predictable. All they got to do is wait till you're exactly who you are. We don't get, you know, our stories start in the middle. Not the beginning, in the middle. So I think of Faizon, I think of so many things I've done, so many things the people I love have done, and I hate that we are predictable.
Well, yeah, I remember you were on All the Smoke. By the way, thank you for the shout out.
Of
on
course.
All the Smoke. Thank you.
Of course.
It was funny because I was watching everyone's reactions because me and Matt Barnes are cool. He's been on the show a couple times and so forth, but me and Steven Jackson kind of had a little bit of a little private back and forth at one point. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was watching it, you know, when you mentioned my name, one of them was like, yeah, another one was like,
You know why? Steven
It was
Jackson.
subtle. It was subtle.
It ain't subtle. I've known Steve Jackson. This nigga beat up Detroit.
Right.
He beat up Detroit. So I think Steven Jackson is not a diplomat.
Right.
I think he's a Port Arthur, Texas dude who just doesn't have nuances.
Doesn't have a filter.
At all.
Yeah, no, the funny part about, like, I've always respected Steven Jackson, especially during the whole George Floyd situation. I've really only spoken positively about him. And the whole thing started, it was so silly. It's like Boosie had posted something like, yeah, you know, the real hustlers lose it all and make it back. You know, I've lost it all and made it back during the course of my life. So I put facts.
Right.
And then Steven wrote this whole paragraph. Man, you ain't lost nothing. You don't know. I DM'd him. I'm like, yo, what's the problem at this point?
Let me tell you something. People think that the only story of tragedy and sorrow is there.
Exactly.
What I've tried to do is to recognize myself. Like, talking about this whole thing. When I was on All the Smoke, I talked about Club Shay Shay.
Yeah.
My disdain for, first off, in full disclosure, Shannon Sharpe is my favorite NFL player. My favorite one, from Denver to Baltimore. When that, first off, that a club would be the arbiter of truth. Club Shay Shay is the arbiter of truth. Like, all I know, I ain't never known a nigga go to a club to tell the truth. When you put liquor in a club, people do a lot of lying.
There's a lot of lying going on.
Right. But I thought the saddest thing about that was that I loved him, and I loved that he was striking out on his own, and he was, without death there can't be a resurrection, and all these people came, and I watched that platform hurt a lot of people I loved. Whether it's whether it's comics I love or my daughter, but he put people on and it became this catch-all for grievance. But now, I just had a conversation. I talked to Stephen A. Smith. I'm not going to tell you what I talked about. I reached out to Matt Barnes. I feel as bad for what's going on with Shannon Sharpe as I felt as bad as what that platform did to people I love.
Look, me and Shannon have not been on the best of terms last I checked. But I felt what he went through was a shakedown.
It was a shakedown.
Point blank, period. You got Tony Busby, who I had the famous back and forth with. By the way, what'd you think when I had the whole argument with him on Piers Morgan?
I thought he tried to move on because he knew he was wrong. He's a fucking ambulance. He's Gloria Allred without the menopause.
It's really funny. Like, as we were like yelling at each other, I was like, name one case that, for Diddy or Jay Z, against Diddy or Jay Z, you've won. I just won $650 million. Nothing to do with what we're talking about. Because all his money was made from personal injury.
And making people go away and be quiet and like settling.
And here's the thing, right? I talked to one of the top lawyers in America about this. A lot of these ambulance chaser kind of lawyers, they like to say, I've collected $1 billion for my client. They'll go and they sue people who are uninsured, right? And they get like $100 million, judgment, which never gets paid. How much money have you actually collected all the way through? Right. All the way through, I'm sure those numbers are very, very different. You really think you're going to get $650 million? Seriously?
Remember, Larry Parker got me 2 points.
Right, exactly. So, listen, at the end of the day, if someone like a Tony Busby wants to go in my world, this is my world here. You're talking about celebrity and lawsuits and so forth, you go meet people like me along the way. So, maybe you'll think twice. But this is the guy who represented Shannon Sharpe's accuser.
I think that, to me, I feel bad because I think now we're in a fight that is so... Again, I feel bad for the part I play in people's... Because it's not unusual for people to be where Shannon Sharpe is now in terms of the reckoning. It is very unusual for us to be in the place he was. But we all are going to get our turn in the barrel. All of us. I've had my personal grievances with any number of people. I haven't liked some of the things that Stephen A. Smith said. I haven't liked some of, and been vocal about it. But now we're in a fight that either we all work together and try to succeed, or we perish.
I mean, look, allegedly that girl got $23 million from Shannon. That's the numbers being thrown around. And after all of that, he still gets fired from ESPN.
Because here's the thing. I've never understood the fascination with young girls. Like, I like old bras. If you got a period, I ain't fucking with you, period.
Menopause only.
Right. Man, let me tell you
pause for the
something.
menopause.
Let me tell you something. I like stress marks and hot flashes. That's the new thong to me. Ooh, daddy, I'm hot. Me too. Go get a fan and let's split an ashwagandha. But there is this thing, and I didn't think anything he did was worth what he's going through. Just like I didn't think anything that podcast, the result in the wake of that podcast, the men, the women, the people I've known, my own daughter in that wake of that podcast, I didn't think that I felt just as bad for him as I'd felt for them. And I think I reached out to these people and I said, man, whatever part I played in this situation where we look so fragmented, I have to apologize to you.
Okay.
So, but and before I wouldn't go on Shannon's podcast, now I will.
Now you will.
Because
okay.
I think that what they've done to him is so unfair. But you got to remember this. The same way I watched what has happened in the wake of somebody believing just because you say something somewhere that it's the totality of who a human being is. I watched it hurt children. I watched it hurt wives. I watched it happen. Then I watched what happened when ESPN did what they did to him. His brother's getting ready to get an award.
In the Hall of Fame. Actually, that's the only two brothers to get Hall of Fame.
Right. And
awards,
rather than talking about that, so all of us, so I can hold these ideas in my head that I hated what happened to these wives, these kids, these family members, and because of the things that people would spew on the platform, and I hated what they did to him. So I would only do it now because I don't want to be a part of a situation where it looks like we're not human beings, we're not fallible, and that this person's good, this person's bad. I just hated that this became a catch-all for all. You wanted to shit on people, you go here. But everybody gets shit on in the end. Everybody does.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just want to formally, on camera, apologize because when I was going through the whole thing with the Farrakhan misquote,
right,
that was an interview with you.
Yes.
That I did. That's what set it all off.
Of course.
And you got kind of caught in the middle of it, and the whole time you stood by me.
You know why?
The whole time.
You know why? I'm not going to argue with somebody about their idea of a man. I know the reality of one. And I don't think that I have to apologize to somebody for having a different vantage point. I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to, but I know that I fuck with you because I do, and I don't need to explain my choices to anybody.
Yeah, likewise.
And so to me, it's not even hard. Yeah. It's a hard thing.
Well, I appreciate it, man, because I was going through a bad time, and ultimately, I reached a point where I wanted to apologize. And I did. A few months ago, I went on Willie D's podcast. That was a good friend of mine as well that had been in contact with me the whole time. And he's a huge Farrakhan supporter.
He is.
Huge. That's why I wanted to do a podcast where it wasn't just going to be a cakewalk. I wanted to sit down with someone that was going to push back and put a hard line in the questioning, which is what he did. But my whole thing was, at the time, I made a mistake. Pride got my way. I had people in my ear that were telling me to do a certain type of thing, hold a certain type of stance. But ultimately, it was my decision, and I felt I made a mistake, and I formally apologized. And look, some people were saying, some people said, "Oh, fuck you and your apology." But a lot of people...
You wasn't apologizing to him.
Yeah, I'm not apologizing to them, exactly. But a lot of people, like, for example, Killer Mike gave me a call right afterwards, like, "Yo, man, thank you so much for doing that. That means a lot to me and our relationship." And Lord Jamar came back.
I saw.
Everyone, made a big uproar over, "Oh, no, he's coming back to the white man," or whatever else. But see, me and Jamar had a real friendship.
I saw.
That lasted for years and years and years.
Maybe they don't know, but I know.
Yeah.
I'm not a dude. Listen, I don't say shit I don't mean. I don't hang out. You never see me. I do pretty much what I believe. Mm-hmm. When you apologize, whatever was going on, I had a feeling about it. but I can't speak for you and your intent. But I was proud that you apologized when you thought you should.
Yeah.
It wasn't like shit was going on fire. Like, it's easy for a motherfucker to apologize when shit is bad.
And I purposely waited so people couldn't say, oh, he's just doing it because his business is in a decline. My business is fine. Oh, he's just doing it because so-and-so pressed him. Nobody pressed me. Nobody made me do it. I did it because I wanted to do it. And I waited for a certain amount of time because I wanted to do it with Willie D in person. So I had to make it down to Houston. In my schedule, like I don't travel around like you do, for example. So I had to plan a whole Houston trip and so forth. And ultimately, I stand behind my decision. It's nice to be able to talk about it because ultimately it came from an edited video. A video was purposely edited a certain type of way to make Farrakhan appear to say one thing, but then later on, he explained his point better.
That's the world we live in.
And that's the world we live in, man. You know? And
I'm never, do you know how many motherfuckers I fuck with that I gotta explain to people? I'm like, I'm not finna ready to do that.
Yeah.
I watch, you know, you gotta remember this. Some of the people you have on this show, I'm intimately associated. Like TK, when I see him from what he was and what he is now. Mm-hmm. I see you from what you were, from what you are now. And I have, a lot of these people who are commenting on these things have never been in the same room with you. So it's a more 20,000 foot view. I'm not gonna begrudge them that. Mm-hmm. But I know this. I have more friends that I have to explain to people than I don't. But the people who I have to explain to people, they wouldn't get no matter what. Mm. They would, because you gotta be there. It's like the book versus the movie. When you write a book, people make their own ideas up. When you make a movie, that's yours. I can't explain to you my book.
Love it. Love it. Well, since our last interview, Diddy has been convicted, although on a very small charge. And I completely predicted this. You can watch my interviews right beforehand.
You did.
I said he's going to beat the RICO. He's going to beat the sex trafficking. He might get hit with prostitution, which is probably a slap on the wrist.
Yep. Let me tell you something. I didn't even know that taking a woman across state lines for the purpose of sex was illegal. I didn't know it was trafficking. I thought it was an anniversary. Because if I put you on a plane and we land, I'm getting some pussy. You know what I'm saying? That's the implied. Now, you could not fuck me local.
But out of town?
Right. You don't need to.
You have to fuck.
Right. You could. So, I think, first off, full disclosure, I think that if Puppy were charged with domestic violence, we're not having this conversation.
Oh, I've always said this. And I feel like this was a domestic violence case that ballooned into a RICO and sex trafficking and so forth.
The FBI ain't gonna get involved with nobody.
Exactly. Nobody. They can't, they won't put him in jail for beating up a girl. They had to turn into something bigger.
It's not sexy.
And they failed.
Right. And they overcharged and all that. Now, I think now that Puffy has not been found guilty of the most serious charges, he should get his baby oil back.
Get all returned to him?
I think that you can win. Like, here's what people are great at. People are great at dealing with the legalities of something. But loopholes are made for rich white men. Loopholes. Like, is it illegal? Is it immoral? They don't care about the morality. They care about the legality of it. Mm-hmm. What he did, you won't be able to... And you can't say that jury is not adept at... Juries in that... You know, that courthouse is right around the corner from my apartment in New York. And I walked by it a couple times. They are adept. They've sent politicians, presidents. They've levied judgments against all of them. Rappers, media moguls. The fact that a seasoned, urbane, sophisticated audience, this doesn't match up. Even the judge didn't seem like he believed the gravity of the charges. So they tried to overcharge him, and they didn't get him. But I think that doesn't mean he hadn't done horrible things. I think that it means that he charged him.
Look, I've been very vocal about this, and I just feel that number one, it was proven that Diddy was not drugging and raping people.
Right.
So this whole thing with Cassie and being the victim and so forth ultimately was disproved in court.
Yeah.
Right? It proved that she was a willing participant. You know, and the interesting part was, like, for example, in her civil suit, she said, the last time I saw Diddy, he raped me. But a civil suit is one thing, but once you take the stand and you do an oath and so forth, and you're up on perjury charges, and the feds are probably like, get up there and tell the truth, or else we're going to charge you for some of this stuff. Suddenly it's like, oh, well, yeah, we met up one other time afterwards and we had consensual sex.
Right.
Well, I thought he just raped you.
They saw the same thing.
Now that changes the whole dynamics of that statement, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
A lot.
You know?
A lot.
So that's what I'm saying. And
listen, I've said this a lot. I can hold these ideas in my head. I don't think he was guilty of what they charged him of. I wouldn't want my daughter or somebody I love to fuck with him.
Yeah, I think most people, you know, don't want to end up with some other guy's, you know, semen being used as a Picasso
that's to me.
painting.
But I'm not so strident and so certain, and I'm not a fucking righteous crusader. I think you can be both a horrible human being and not guilty of the things that a machine or a bureaucracy has charged you. I think that they don't compete for space in my head.
Well, you actually criticize people who are celebrating his verdict.
Sure. That's almost like, even if war shouldn't be celebrated. If you believe you got to go to war, I shouldn't celebrate it. If you got to fight for your land, your safety, taking a human life or hurting another human being, I don't know, celebration is the key.
Well, I feel you.
Like, I celebrated when OJ got off.
You did?
I did, but I was 20, 30 years ago. I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I know he did it? You know why I know he did? No,
Okay.
I know
Why is
he
that?
did. Why I know he did. And I've had Johnny Cocker on my show and talked to him. He never gave me
Oh, okay.
He had an Akita.
Yeah. Well, she had an Akita.
She had an Akita.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's the thing. I've had Akitas. Anybody, you see me used to walk around my big ass Akita. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you brought the Akita here last time. Yeah.
that dog would either try to kill what was hurting somebody or been cut up. That dog right there don't just wait around and yell. You see by the phonetic, he didn't know what to do. And those dogs always know what to do.
Right, but that dog knew OJ, so therefore...
That's what I'm saying. If he didn't know him, it would have been two things. Either cut up dog or bit up nigga. That would have been all. I'm telling you, that's when I knew. I was like, these dogs, they don't have, they're one of the few breeds that are like fearless in the service of people they love. But when that dog, when he didn't get cut and nobody went to the hospital with a dog bite, I'm like, okay. It had to be somebody he knew. And it wouldn't have been some dude she was fucking with at the time.
Well, Trump originally said he was looking to possibly pardon Diddy. But then there was a follow-up interview where he said, well, I found all the negative stuff he was saying about me.
What negative stuff?
Diddy definitely was bashing Trump.
Okay, I get it. But it only is, it's not about.
Yeah, during his first election.
The thing about Trump is, and the thing about people is, isn't it funny how we always talk about black criminality? We all know statistics about black people and how many people in prison. You know, 80%, almost 80% of the convicted felons for sexual, for pedophilia in America are white.
Yeah, I believe it.
So, I'm a comic. We say, fuck them kids. Y'all do it. Y'all do it. I don't know who's on the Epstein list, but I do know this. I know two things for sure. It was wealthy, rich white men, right? Who did it in front of wealthy, rich white men. I guarantee you, I'm not saying anything, but I guarantee you the only way, so we always have conversations about crime, but we never talk about the crimes that they're comfortable talking about. You
do know, like, I just want to interrupt you real quick. People always talk about how many murders happen in America. Right. But on a per capita basis, America's nowhere near the top.
what I would say is this: that on a nation that claims to love God and democracy and civil order, we're way too comfortable with death.
Look, I actually just looked it up because I was, for some reason it hit my timeline earlier today. The total murder rate per 100,000, the number one country is what? Take a guess.
East Africa somewhere.
No.
Where?
Jamaica. 49.3. Ecuador is number 2. Haiti's number 3. Honduras, Mexico, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Bermuda, Mongolia, and then the United States.
Do you know what the funny thing about that statistic is? What do they have in common that we don't?
I mean...
abject poverty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're all third world countries.
They're poverty.
Until you hit America.
When you get to a nation that's supposed to be evolved in a Western civilization,
right,
it is way worse than people that hard scrap.
Right, because after that is Bolivia, Pakistan, Turkey, Lithuania, Moldavia,
Latvia,
Morocco, Estonia. It's really, there are some primarily black countries. Obviously Jamaica, but when you look at the top 10, it's not primarily black countries.
And they have poverty.
There's a lot of, it's basically poverty, yeah. It's basically a lot of Latino countries and so forth. Yeah.
That's right. Poverty.
It's poverty, though.
That's
None
what I'm
of
saying.
them are rich.
No, but we are.
Yeah. Although Mexico is pretty big. Mexico is a pretty wealthy.
But I'm not talking about the people at the top.
Yeah, at the bottom, yeah. A lot of poverty.
The thing about us is and those countries aren't trying to tell other people how to live. Those countries aren't telling people, holding themselves up as a shining city on the hill. We're and the worst of us, do you know where the largest number of sex offenders, registered sex offenders, lives in this country? The largest number, where they live?
Besides Nicki Minaj's husband?
He can't be all of them. Where do they live? What state?
What state?
Mm-hmm.
Please don't say California.
It's Texas.
Texas, okay.
By a lot.
By a lot.
By a lot. There are more registered sex offenders in Texas that there's so many registered sex offenders in Texas, they can fill out Arrowhead Stadium.
Damn.
And the thing about it is, they're a state that prides itself. If we were talking about sex offenders, you would look at states that they consider to be more liberal versus states that they consider more hard on crime. Texas, you would look at and they go, wow, they're so tough on crime. We have 60,000, they have about 76,000. By a lot. So they have more registered sex offenders than anyone in the country, all while you're displaying the Bible in your schools. Read it once in a while. And it's always interesting to me how comfortable white men are, particularly middle-aged white men are, with sexual assault and pedophilia. If you look at the Catholic Church, if you look at the Boy Scouts of America, if you look at Penn State and Ohio State, who ran those schools? Who charged those people and tried to bring justice to them? They were all white, and they all looked out for each other. So if we're going to talk about crime, let's talk about it in its totality and not just nitpicking or cherry-picking the things you think make an argument. I think the protection of the children is the only thing that matters.
Well, speaking of registered sex offenders, did you see the whole back and forth that Nicki Minaj had with Des Bryant?
I didn't.
Oh, you did it? Okay, so I guess Nicki tried to bring up some old stuff about Des because he's associated with Rock Nation or whatever, and she offered $10 million for Des Bryant to fight her husband. Des said, I don't play all that funny shit. Go get that $10 million cash. I'll stomp that Edward out right in front of you. And it's Rock for life, bitch.
Listen, I think that how would he prove he's not what she says she is? How would he prove it?
Who?
Like what would be the proving process? Like she said she want to get $10 million for him to fight her husband, right?
Yeah. And by the way, she's been using her husband as a crash out dummy for a while. At one point, she said, "Oh, academics, what's your address? I'm sending my husband to come see you." And it's like, well, you send your husband to go get killed. So, that's what's going to happen.
I just think, what is the point of it? Like, first off, it's boxers that have trained their whole life that will never see $10 million.
Right.
What do you prove? I think that now we live in this generation or this era where people throw out large numbers, but they're associated with small minds. Even if you won, would it be worth giving $10 million because your husband kicked somebody's ass?
Her husband's not going to beat up Des Bryant.
No.
Her husband's 5'8" with a beer belly. Des Bryant's
Let me tell you something.
former NFL player, 6'3", pure muscle.
I know
it's not going to be much of a fight.
I know a lot of niggas that took ass whooping they shouldn't. I can't tell you that.
I will put $10 million on Des Bryant myself.
You wouldn't put $10 million.
Yes, I would.
Would you put $10 million on it?
On Des Bryant? Yes, absolutely. If I knew it was an actual fight between those two, I would take money out my house. I would sell off my stocks. I would put $10 million down on Des Bryant, 100%.
It's sad that
it will never happen, but yes, I'll put that money down.
Like my, you know, these theoretical questions. Would you hit me for $1 million? Yes. Yes, today.
Where is it at?
Right. Are you absolutely right? So I think it's theoretical. I don't get the point of it, but you know, that's where we are right now.
Well, speaking of boxing, September 13th,
right?
Canelo versus Crawford.
Right.
Now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo is actually favored -172. Crawford is the underdog at +151.
Right.
Which means that you'd have to bet $172 on Canelo to get $100 back.
Right.
Almost 2-1.
Right.
Who do you got your money on?
I think Crawford.
Every person I interview says Crawford.
But not. Well, look, it ain't the whole black. I think Canelo is a tremendously gifted boxer. I think he's strong. I think he's I used to watch boxing at the Olympic, and I would watch these fighters almost kill each other. But I think that Canelo, although as skilled, Crawford is two things. He's skilled and he's smart. And I think that is a pretty dangerous combination. I think that I watched what Floyd did to Canelo. And you could say that he was younger.
He was very much younger.
But still skill. So Floyd was older, so that maybe that should have neutralized each other.
Yeah, no, Floyd definitely outskilled him. At one point, I think he ran into the corner.
He was so
head,
skilled that all of that stuff. I'll never forget this. I remember everybody was scared of Tito Ortiz, and he was fighting Bernard Hopkins, and Bernard Hopkins said at the end of the fight, Bernard Hopkins won. He said, "You're not gonna beat me with one gun." It's just people that know how to do what they do. So I think Bud Crawford is. Yeah, I think Canelo's a bigger, stronger guy. Mm-hmm. But to Bud Crawford, nigga, I've seen this before. And so I think that skill-wise, when it comes down to all the intangibles, I'm strong, you skilled, I'm skilled, who wants it more and who sees things before they come? And I think that's Bud Crawford.
Look, I remember I had Aries on yesterday, and his point was that whenever in the boxing world you get the top Latino and the top black guy, usually the top black guy wins that fight. You could take Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran.
Duran beat Sugar Ray before, first time.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
I watched it, so yeah.
I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
He beat him the first time. And he beat him the first time because Sugar Ray fought Duran's fight. He wanted to show something to him. And the thing that makes me more certain that Bud Crawford's going to win, because he's not a young fighter. He's been through a lot. A young fighter might be tempted to prove who he was. Bud knows who he is. Be like, okay, you say he can beat me. I watched when he beat Earl Spence. I thought that would be a tougher fight. He walked through it. Spence is a beast.
Yeah, look, Crawford's undefeated, 41-0. Now, with 31 knockouts. Mm-hmm. Alvarez is 63-2-2 with 39 knockouts.
But he beat some tough motherfuckers, though.
Canelo? Yeah. Oh yeah, no, Canelo hasn't been ducking anybody.
But he lost to a very skilled man.
Yeah. What was the other loss? One was Mayweather. Let's see.
What did he fight? Triple G? Who did he fight? He didn't lose him. It was a draw, right?
Canelo lose to...
Is a Dimitri
Bivol.
Yeah, but Bivol was a big dude. He's way bigger than him. He still didn't get it. The one thing, I grew up in LA, man. The one thing that great Mexican fighters die on their shield, they know one way, that's forward. If he keeps coming forward against a guy as skilled as that, I think it's going to be a problem.
Well, A third green dildo has been thrown onto a WNBA court. You know about this?
Yeah.
Have you seen the mugshot of the guy who threw it?
No.
This guy, 18-year-old Caden Lopez. This guy right here. Apparently now they're not allowing people to bring bags into WNBA games to avoid the fourth dildo.
The funny thing about it is,
You know, you can hide dildos other places though. If you don't want to bring a
if
bag.
you're looking for dildos at the if you're looking for dildos at the WNBA, I wouldn't start with the fans.
Start with the players.
If you're trying to avoid dildos in a WNBA game, I would suggest you go to the after party. That's what I would do. So I don't think now I'm not an expert, but I will say this. I don't think it's the fans that have the majority number of dildos in the stands.
You're right. They're calling this dildo gate.
Yes. I bet you when that dildo found out, you had a bunch of people looking down like, oh, okay.
That's not mine.
Yeah, we gonna look for dildos with the fans at the WNBA. Okay, yeah. What you need to do is check a gym bag. That's what you need to do.
I mean, look, the WNBA may be the first league where opponents are actually dating each other.
Yeah. But you know what? I think they play their way into relevance.
Yeah.
Hats off to them. You know, a tip of the dildo, whatever. I think everybody. It used to be a novelty to own a WNBA team. Now it's a business. It's a money making venture.
I mean, is it though? Is
I
it
think
you
that
know
they-
the whole pay us what you owe us? A lot of these girls don't get paid a lot of money, but then again, not a lot of money gets generated.
Let me just say this. I think that for whatever, it used to be that those owners didn't make money. Now they do. And the employees, it's a backwards thing where, yes, you appreciate people making a business investment, but now that it's paid off, they should reap some of the benefit of their hard labor. They should. I'm not saying that it's on par with all these other things, but there's no way that you went from buying a franchise for this, being able to generate this much income, and not give them anything. You know, somebody got to pay for dildo cleanup. You can't have
That dildo ain't go pick up itself.
Somebody got to pay for Astroglide. You can't.
What'd you think about Shaq threatening to punch Robert Griffin III?
Listen,
over
I
Angel
like
Reese
RG3.
comments? Let me just quote. So basically, Shaq said, tweet another monkey post about my girl Angel Reese. I'm going to punch you in your fucking face. Enough is enough. I don't usually do stuff like this, but just stop it, bro. You got your job. You got your podcast. Leave my Angel Reese alone. I'm the one calling her and telling her not to respond. Fucking stop. That's the last time, okay? Thank you.
I just don't like when RG3 does that in front of a white woman. Because now, I'm not saying that he is not a right to his opinion. It looks insidious when you do it with her laying on the couch while you do it. So he can do whatever he wants, and I think I just don't understand why it is that somebody would be so mad or have a personal vendetta against somebody who's only trying to do what they love and they're young and they're trying to get better. Now she's not Caitlyn, but I think she works hard. I think she's a nice looking woman, and I think that there's no point. It's no different than what I called Aries about. I don't understand the personal animus. If it's personal, don't pretend like it ain't. If it's personal, don't pretend like it ain't. Do it. But stop trying to do these, these things under the auspices of I'm just being a journalist. A journalist don't have his white wife sitting there while you talking shit about a sister. They just don't. So you can do whatever. RG3 was a bad dude. I liked him. I hated what happened to him at the Commanders. Now the shit that he's doing is kind of sucker shit.
Well, I think Shane Gillis kind of really nailed how people think about the WNBA. Remember the ESPYs? He was like, let me introduce WNBA legend Julie Burwell. And everyone's like, give her a hand. And everyone's like, ah. See, now I can tell why you guys don't watch the WNBA. She's never played basketball before. This is my next door neighbor.
Right.
And people are like, oh shit. Like,
Samora, who's one of my favorite comics, had the best joke I've ever heard. She said, I'm glad they have the WNBA because now all these female PE teachers have somewhere to go on the weekends. Nigga, that shit made me laugh so goddamn hard.
not the female PE teacher.
Have somewhere to go on the weekend. It's fucking...
Look, I don't think I've ever... Has there ever in America been a straight female PE teacher? I don't think it's even allowed. You're not even allowed to apply for that job. You have a husband?
Yeah, no.
Next.
No,
You got a boyfriend?
Yeah,
Next.
yeah.
Get out of here, you pervert.
Yeah. We can't have you on road trips if you don't like pussy. Are you crazy?
Trevor Noah talked about, questioning integration. You had a very interesting response to this. You said, that may be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. First off, I've heard enough from these South Africans this year. Between Trevor and Elon Musk. These are two dudes I don't need to learn about race from. Two dudes from South Africa, I've heard enough.
Yeah.
You're just done with
Why
both
do
of
I
them?
need to know anything about South Africa from the dude that put Mandela in prison? Why would I need to learn?
I interviewed Elon's dad.
I saw that,
Yeah. That was a very, 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 very interesting interview.
The craziest thing about, it's always funny how even now we reference to South Africa or Nazi Germany. You know where they learned that from? Us. Nazi Germany, Hitler studied the Reconstruction South.
Really?
Look it up. Hitler studied the Reconstruction South and patterned himself after us. So just like we are jazz, we are blue jeans, we are hate. We taught the world how to hate. Hitler was a voracious consumer of American history. So even eugenics, the idea of eugenics that he used to slaughter people came from the Reconstruction South.
So there's strong evidence that Hitler and the Nazis studied and were influenced by American racist laws and practices, including those stemming from an era of U.S. slavery, specifically Jim Crow laws,
Which is the Reconstruction
citizenship
South.
and anti-miscegenation laws, and Native American policies.
Sure. We taught the world how to
black
hate.
people and Indians. He's like, oh, I got an idea.
America taught, when everybody says this administration is like Nazi Germany, this administration is like America.
So how do you feel about, for example, Kanye doing songs like Hail Hitler and calling himself a Nazi?
I think that the one thing that Donald Trump, who love Donald Trump, is feeble-minded niggas and niggas that got hit in the head a lot.
Think Kanye got hit in the head a lot?
No, but he's feeble-minded. I think that if you look at Trump won some blacks was for Trump, but blacks was CTE from Trump. Niggas that get hit in the head love him. You remember when, like he was on stage with Antonio Brown and Tommy Hearns said, if you don't vote for me, black people don't vote for me, you need the head examined. And he was on stage with two niggas that need a head examined.
No, listen, I've asked Antonio if he has CTE. You feel like you have CTE at all?
No, listen. First, Will Smith made a movie about concussions, right? To show you the deadly part of what NFL players are going through. So for the NFL to protect themselves of players, because as a football player, you know what you signed up for, right? You're going to get banged in the head, right? It's already premeditated before you start playing. As a little kid, this can affect you. So we already know what we signed up for. But, being in this game is like being in the Army. Some players make it back. Some players get hurt. It's a different situation for every guy. You know what I'm saying? But some players, they really have died behind issues of this thing.
He wouldn't know it.
He wouldn't know it.
But I know after that hit from Burfict, he wasn't the same. I just think that people like that, they're people, every time I just notice their connection to dudes that got hit in the head a lot. Like, he was on stage announcing a program for kids with Lawrence Taylor, who's a registered sex offender.
Right.
So the only thing that Lawrence Taylor could do for kids is watch them from 1,000 feet away. How the fuck you gonna help kids? And if you go drive by school, you'll violate the terms of your parole. Are you out your mind?
Oh man, listen. I tweeted, when Nicki Minaj offered Des Bryant $10 million to fight her husband, I said, I made a tweet. I said, here's an absolute 100% way for Des to win that, to win that $10 million. Host a fight at Chuck E. Cheese.
That's That's evil. But write that down. Fucking evil.
You gonna use that?
Hilarious. Hilarious. But you say what you want.
Thank you.
We sent our pedophile to jail. They sent this to the White House. It's a whole thing. Well, I was talking to my daughter, my oldest daughter, and my daughter said something to me that broke my fucking heart. She said, out of all the people she knows, she's one of the rare ones that has never been sexually molested or assaulted by a man who's intimate, like a grandfather or a uncle or a friend who's never been intimately associated with her. Do you know how many women have been? And the fact that it is so, you can do these things and still ascend. You can do these things and still accomplish. You can do these things and nobody question it is a testament to the country we are. It's what we value. And you can't tell me you're valuing women when you've had so many men in high positions that have preyed upon them and got away with it.
Yeah, look, there is a lot of, unfortunately, these days, with all these civil lawsuits, it's hard to tell who really got abused and who is actually just trying to shake someone down.
No, I get it.
I feel that if you got abused, there should be a criminal complaint. There should be the police involved. There should be something in terms of criminal law. If you do nothing and 20 years later you file a lawsuit, I'm going to look at it sideways.
Yeah, but
that's it.
We will be inclined. And you know what? I think that you shouldn't be able to accuse somebody without, I don't care what you did to somebody. If you went and did something very violent to someone's family, that person who saw it would have to go on the stand and say, this person did it. And they wouldn't be able to change his name or
no
identity.
Jane Doe,
they would have
whatever
to
else.
say it.
Exactly.
I think that is wrong. I think that no matter what you're accused of, and I don't think people should be believed just because. I think in this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's sacrosanct to me. But I also think that when you have these multiple allegations, to pretend like they not based on a preponderance of situation, like it's crazy to me. You are kind of what you do. The reason that I believe we're here is because does it seem like these men wouldn't do these things when they have?
Look, on All the Smoke, you said that they've locked up the whole 90s at this point.
They could.
Diddy, R. Kelly.
The 90s went to jail. They all went on trial.
Who else? Bill Cosby.
I said Bill Cosby, Diddy, and you could put anybody.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. They all going to jail. They were indicted. But I think my problem with Diddy is he was Puff Daddy, Diddy, P Diddy. Where I'm from, any nigga changed his name has done a lot of shit wrong.
You trying to hide out?
We call that an alias. Is this you? Not no more. That was me last album. I don't do that.
I'm Sean now.
I think that we live in an unfortunate situation where the more powerful you are, the more wealthy you are, the more male you are, you have a leg up on perception and truth. And that to me is unfortunate. But it also doesn't negate the fact that some people say things for commerce or for revenge or whatever that they shouldn't say, and I think that diminishes somebody else. I don't think people should just be believed because of their gender or indicted because of their gender, but I do think that we should have a situation where, do you really believe that these men didn't do it? You really believe it?
I don't believe, based on, I interviewed 5 escorts, 5 male escorts that were involved in the freak-offs. every last one of them said, for the most part, the girls were into it. Diddy was not forcing them. Now, one of them did see abuse a couple times with Cassie, but in general, that was a small percentage that, and yes, it's horrible. What happened? I think in general, the women were with it. The drugs were being taken because they want to take it, and things didn't work out. So ultimately, things happen. I don't think that Diddy, like for example, that was the whole thing with me and Tony Busby. He has 100 clients that claim that Diddy drugged and raped them. I don't believe it. One of his clients was a girl who claimed that Diddy and Jay Z raped her when she was 13. Her own father said it was nonsense. Her own father. And she's autistic, so God knows what her mind state is like. But there was no evidence whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
and yet
the one you want.
What's
that's
that?
the one you want right there. I think
that was a bullshit lawsuit meant to humiliate someone like Jay Z. And although he said we didn't ask for any money, we just asked for mediation. Mediation's about money. Right. It's a civil lawsuit.
But I tell you
don't
what,
mediate
I love the way
for it.
he did
I'm sorry.
Jay Z was like, I got bread. We're gonna fight.
We're gonna fight. And by the way, someone I know sent that clip to Jay Z and said Jay Z absolutely loved it. Me arguing with Busby, Jay Z absolutely loved that.
Of course, I don't think people who have been accused of sexually assaulting people should have jobs where they get to cover who. Like we have a Supreme Court justice who was accused of sexual assault. I don't think he should be able to wear a robe.
That's Kavanaugh?
Yeah, I think he should have to wear pants. I don't think that you should be able. I think rich white dudes who've been accused of this should never be able to do anything except out in the public. They shouldn't be able to go to private islands. They shouldn't be able to, like, all of the things that they do because they know no one's going to hold them accountable for. And I think that everything, like, I remember one time, I'll never forget this. My mother took the door off the hinges, and she said, whatever you do with this door open, you can do. I think it should be like that with the people, not just rich people, but people who are in charge of guiding our lives and guiding laws and having interaction with the not just tastemakers, but people who legislate for us. I think that we should know who they are. I think we should know what they do. I think we should know what they believe, and I think that they should have to be transparent. And if they're not transparent, they should be able to have access to the people that govern our lives.
Yeah, I mean, look, like for example, Clarence Thomas. I remember I interviewed Dershowitz, right, who used to work for a Supreme Court justice.
Sure.
And he used to tell me how, like, some corporation would send a fruit basket to the Supreme Court justice, and he said, throw that away, send it back. They're not going to say that they're influencing my vote with a fruit basket or anything else. Send it back with a fruit basket. Clarence Thomas did not send anything back.
You know what?
He was taking private jet flights on mega yachts.
Yeah.
His grandkids' tuition was being paid off by his billionaire friend, and yet nothing, not even a slap on the wrist.
No. Do you know Clarence Thomas is actually a DEI hire? He was put in there by the Bush administration after Clarence Thomas died. After Thurgood Marshall died.
Thurgood Marshall, yeah.
So Thurgood Marshall was off the court. So they went, where can I find a nigga who will do, because there weren't that many conservative black people back then.
Right, they needed to find a Republican black judge.
And he was it. I think he was in charge of the Fed. I don't think he was even a judge. I think he was a lawyer, but
he wasn't a judge?
I think, don't misquote me, but I'll say this. He was so unremarkable that for decades he said...
Yes, before being appointed Supreme Court, he was a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Columbia Circuit.
Right, and so he was an unremarkable judge.
Okay.
But MAGA loves unremarkable people. MAGA picks black men the same way white dudes pick dogs. They want obedient dogs. They want dogs that do what they want. Name me a remarkable black man they pick. Is Tim Scott remarkable? Is Byron Donalds remarkable? Is Clarence Thomas remarkable? They'll never have a street, a library, or have a stamp. Their whole reason for existing is because They are amenable. They are obedient. Now, Clarence Colin Powell, remarkable person.
Colin Powell.
But at the end of the day, Colin Powell left because he's like, these people are not.
Condoleezza Rice.
A remarkable person.
There we go.
But
another Republican.
at the end of the day, she's silent when it matters.
Ben Carson.
Not a remarkable man. Listen, I'm sure he's a bright man, but I mean, there had to be a neurosurgeon. Like this dude right there. They think that there had to be a brain surgeon. That just was able to pass the test. Is he a remarkable human being? Why would you put a brain surgeon in charge of HUD? Why was he not the Surgeon General?
Shaquille O'Neal's a Republican.
Huh?
He supported Trump. Shaq.
Of course.
I think he's remarkable.
I think he's a remarkable athlete.
Remarkable businessman.
I think he's a remarkable businessman. But I think that at a certain point, black athletes are taken away from their communities, and they're told how special they are. They never really bear the brunt. And then when they come back, they've been raised by these people who told them how special they are, and they saying, "Look how you did this. They could do it too." Because black people, one thing about us, we're always gauged by the exception, not the rule. Now, and I said this before: a rose can grow through concrete. That doesn't make it fertile ground. And men like that think that because they did it, you should too. That's why great players make shitty coaches.
Sometimes.
A lot of times.
Jason Kidd.
He didn't win yet. He didn't win championship yet. Larry Bird was a coach. He didn't win championship.
Larry Bird.
Magic Johnson coached for a while. He didn't win the championship.
Johnson. Who was the Knicks? The Lakers coach back in the day.
Who?
He was the assistant coach.
Jerry West didn't win.
Not Jerry West. He went on to do the white guy. What's his name?
Phil Jack.
Well, Phil Jackson was a former NBA player.
Not a great NBA.
Not a great NBA player.
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley. There we go.
Not a great NBA.
Not a great NBA player. Okay. All right. You win. You win.
No.
Well, Lord Jamar has been back on my show, and we've been covering the whole flat Earth thing.
First of all, I got into this trying to disprove it. I thought it was fucking ridiculous. Years ago, you asked me this. You asked me about flat Earth on this show, and I was like, that's some bullshit, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you said that?
Yes.
I gotta look it up. Okay.
Look it up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's ridiculous. I can't believe anybody's even questioning it. So when it was brought to me, I was like, I'm going to get into this to just disprove this nonsense and be on my way. But the more you really look into it, instead of just going with the ha-ha shit online and the funny, you're a guest in the House of Science. You know, once you really start looking into it and you start seeing certain things for yourself and not just taking in what with this Rockefeller school system, Carnegie Mellon shit that's been rammed down our throat since these people came into power here in America and shit that has flourished around the world. All I can say is this. They say the Earth is moving at 1,000 miles per hour.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean around the sun?
That the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, right? Just answer yes or no. Do you feel like you're spinning?
Yes, Earth's rotation speed at the equator is approximately 1,000 miles per hour.
Do you feel like you're moving? Yes or no?
No, but I also don't.
No, you see?
But I also don't feel like I'm moving when I'm on a plane or a car.
Sure you do.
No, I don't.
Come on, stop it, Vlad.
No, I don't.
You know that you're moving. When you're in a car and a plane, you feel turbulence, you feel bumps.
If there's turbulence,
you know that you're
but
going
if it's smooth,
forward.
you don't know. I don't feel like.
And here's the difference. Here's the difference, right? In a car and in a plane, you are inside of something, right? They are claiming that we are on a ball on the outside of a spinning ball.
Yes.
Held only by a mysterious force called gravity.
Okay. So,
Again, hang on.
Okay.
A scientism term, which, when you remove it, everything else falls apart.
Jamar is my friend, and just because we're friends doesn't mean we have to agree on everything. What do you think about the whole flat Earth thing?
I think that I can't prove a negative. And I think that I'm tired of arguing with people who refuse. They will find the minutia to argue about. Listen, I could say right now, I can't prove a negative. I could say right now, this building doesn't fall down just because I'm in it. There's no way to argue that or to disprove it. I'm not going to argue a negative. If you believe the world is flat, I would stay off a cruise ship.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've tried. You could prove that right now in New York, the sun is going down, but, where is the edge of the Earth? Who's found the edge?
Yeah.
Who's fallen off the edge? I mean,
There's one thing
I
that
fuck
is
with Jamar.
There's one thing that is true. We have killed truth. We have destroyed it. It is what we say it is. And so I'm not inclined to argue with somebody who's so hell-bent on, because to a lot of simple ass people, evidence is a lack of evidence. The fact that you have a lot of proof means it ain't no proof. So I'm like, you know what? If you believe the world is flat, have at it. But I would stay off a cruise ship with your ass.
Well, Hulk Hogan passed away recently.
Right.
And it was actually on the 10-year anniversary of the leak with all the N-word stuff. Where he's like, he was talking about his daughter dating a black man. He said, I'd rather she was going to go F some N-word with a hard R. I'd rather have her marry an 8 foot tall N-word worth $100 million, like a basketball player. I guess we're a little racist, fucking N-word.
What I say this is my mother used to say shit like, if she can't use her comb, don't bring her home. So I didn't care that he was. I think that when they say things like, the family would like for you to respect his memory, there's one of his daughters that would not come to see him, that didn't want anything to do with it, she don't want a part of his $30 million estate.
Yeah, Brooke Hogan.
So if you did something so bad that a daughter can't forgive you in death, you're a horrible motherfucker.
Well, I just like to tell Brooke that I'll gladly take that share of
right.
Hulk Hogan's estate on her behalf.
Right.
And I promise to do great things with that money.
Yeah.
Like buy myself a Rolls Royce. Maybe a private plane.
Absolutely. But when you say things
maybe
that
give back a little bit as well,
when you say things that are so horrible that people can't forgive you in death, it's rest in peace, but not to everybody.
Listen, I've said, I did a tweet that went viral. I said Hulk Hogan was a legend. He was also a racist. Both could be true. You're not going to say he wasn't a legend in wrestling. He was the face of wrestling for like 20 years.
Yes.
But he was also a racist behind closed doors.
See, here's the thing. They're both the same thing. Wrestling is fake, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea of America's acceptance is fake. We're not further along. We're not as far along as we pretend to be. So the idea that we're an evolved society is faked, and the idea that wrestling is real, it's all fake. If it weren't fake, then why do, like Bruce Pearl, who is Auburn, and he talked about how divisive Obama was, right? And he talked about how in this country you could be anything you want. In this country, a black man could be what a white man thinks he should. Be president, we're gonna have a problem with you. You be a pilot. How many people have you talked about when I get on a plane, I see a black person, I wonder if they're DEI, or if they are a mayor or a governor, I wonder if they're DEI, or if they're, so you can be whatever it is I think you're worthy of. We're not all equal. because you get to assign to me with the belief. When you coach a basketball team, of course you could have a black leader because you ain't gonna want to. Listen, if you in the NFL, you got to be for affirmative action because without niggas, that shit would be rugby. But the very same man talked about how divisive Obama was. Was he accused of sexual battery? Was he accused of attacking a Capitol? Was he accused of coddling and consorting with pedophiles? You didn't like him because of the way he made you feel. Barack Obama was a mirror to this country, and America didn't like what it saw. He was a bullet in the head of white supremacy. He shattered the veneer that they were superior. And you can't tell me that you wouldn't switch. If Barack Obama was a white man, they'd be building ships and statues to him right now.
I mean, I think Obama went down as one of the great U.S. presidents.
He did go down as one of the great U.S.
You know, so although people like Trump try to take away his pictures and so forth out of the White House, history ultimately will read it the right way.
Let me just...
the fact that he was reelected by a landslide
right.
showed you what it was.
Let me ask you something. If all fair, we're just talking about accolades, attributes to attributes. Mm-hmm. If Barack Obama had to go against Donald Trump in a spelling bee, not one white person would vote on Barack Obama. I mean, will vote on Donald Trump because they know he's intellectually, whether people like this a lot, he's morally and intellectually inferior to a black man. He is. He is. He's morally and intellectually inferior to the standard of the world.
Yeah.
Fight me on it. If you had, if you had Donald Trump's resume, not only could you not be in the White House, you could be at White Castle.
White Castle wouldn't hire him.
They would.
They say, sorry. Go down to Arby's.
How the fuck you tell me how great a businessman you are when you went bankrupt 6 times?
Yeah.
The thing about, I defy anybody to argue, Donald Trump is intellectually and morally inferior to the black man that was supposed to be intellectually and morally inferior.
Yeah. I feel you. Malcolm Jamal Warner, who passed away. And I hate the internet sometimes, but the whole conspiracy, how somehow it was tied to Bill Cosby. Like, look, they killed his real son and his TV son. It must be connected.
I think I know who you're talking about. He's a good friend of mine, but I tell you this.
Wait, you know who said this?
I do.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Griffin.
He's a dear
Eddie
friend of mine.
Griffin. I fuck with Eddie. Although Eddie
He's
want to charge me $1 million for our next interview.
Right. Remember you talked about, like he talked to me when he was going to come on here. He's a dear.
I love you. I love you, Eddie. I wish I could interview you again. I just can't afford $1 million for the next interview.
He's a dear friend of mine. I do not, let me tell you something. Is it unreasonable to believe that black people who drown just drown?
No.
There are islands in the Caribbean.
I've never met a black person that couldn't swim. Every single black person. Yeah.
I can swim.
I'm joking, of course.
No, but I'm saying, but we don't.
But Michael Jai White can't swim. Do you know that?
I did.
He literally has no ability. He said he's tried. Something about his body density just goes to the bottom of the pool.
So is it unusual for a group of people, not the individual, but in the aggregate, is it unusual that people who don't swim drown? I don't know a black person that I knew who don't have a story where they almost drown.
Yeah.
So I just don't think. I think sometimes what is.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm sad. The thing I'm sad about is I think Bill Cosby did horrible things, but Cliff Huxtable listed black people to heights they never seen before. Mm-hmm. Like Bill Cosby did all that shit, but Cliff Huxtable made black people go to college. Cliff Huxtable is why Barack Obama became president.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about this before.
So
yeah. We also lost Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes.
Do you know that at one point Ozzy was so high off of drugs that he shot 17 of his family cats.
Yes.
And his wife found him underneath the piano with a gun and a knife covered in blood.
That doesn't sound surprising.
That's the crazy part. Because he also bit off the head of an actual bat.
But that was an accident.
That was on accident.
Yeah, but he shot all the...
He said, let me show you what I do on purpose.
Right?
You thought that was crazy.
Yeah. Wait till you see the shit I do when I'm not aware of it. That's hilarious.
Right. He killed 17 cats.
Yes, he did.
And, I mean, listen, he lasted to 72. That's pretty good. That's
Not
pretty
really.
good. I mean,
the average American, the average white dude lasts to 77, so he didn't do...
Well, I'm just saying the average American doesn't do as many drugs as...
That's what I'm saying.
Ozzy Osbourne.
So far, yeah.
Like, he was just full blown...
He was the C student of the life class.
Exactly. And look,
he wasn't the Asian student. They'd have lived to 89, but he is the C student.
I did a Pierce Morgan episode with Ozzy's wife, Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice lady. But look, if you go that hard during your life, once you hit your 60s, 70s, and this is like the kind of things I talked to like with Faison about. It's just like, yo, man, like, you don't see people your size in their 60s and 70s.
Ain't no old fat people.
Ain't no old fat people, man. Yeah, well, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Hulk Hogan.
Look, I don't think he's a
It
bad...
is what it is. And also, I just want to say, Young Noble from the Outlaws recently died. He took his own life, which is, that's someone I've actually interviewed multiple times and, texted every so often. That was just sad.
I think it's always sad when somebody dies. It's an arrogant thing to believe that you know when somebody is supposed to go, or that you're shocked when they do, because nothing can promise to anybody. The last thing anybody gets to do or should get to do is be shocked when somebody passes, because that's how fleeting life is.
Well, taking your own life at 47 is a little shocking.
Only to people that believe that you know what somebody's going through or when they should go.
That's true. I feel you. Look, I remember one of my illest interviews was with Scarface.
Yeah.
And he had rapped about suicide and so forth, talked about an interview. So I said, yeah, you've talked about it a lot. He goes, well, it's never too late to quit.
Yep.
And he said it's so cold.
Yeah.
I said, damn, you're right. It's never too late to quit. You can always quit.
I can say this. I'm 61 years old. I have never been depressed.
Really?
I'm not, till now. But I'm talking about like...
till now.
Never.
Huh?
Like, I'm not talking about a day or two. I'm not talking about a week or something like that. I'm talking about where you just have this thing where you just can't seem to shake it. So there are things that I once believed that I don't now. I never believed that you couldn't get past some things. And there are some things that now, because of the reality of the things I face in my mind, where I could see how people feel the way they do. Like, I never thought, when I would see people go, oh, I could never just drive off and never talk to anybody again. I could see how it could happen. You know how motherfucker just, you never hear, I could see how it could happen. Now, I'm not saying that I would do it. I don't know that I would or wouldn't, but I'm saying now it isn't as foreign a concept to me as it once was.
I've realized that life has a funny way of churning you into the people you make fun of.
Ain't it the fucking truth?
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't it the
All
fucking truth?
the people that you've made fun of through the course of your life, it's likely at some point you will be in that position.
Yes, indeed.
And you realize, like, damn, I used to make fun of people in my predicament right now. And here I am.
Man.
God damn it.
Let me tell you something. I could never see how somebody could go, you can have all this shit, I'm leaving. I could never thought. But now I go, I could see how it could happen.
Yeah. Everybody's got a breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know people's breaking point if you are not inside their head.
No. You know, my mother was diagnosed with early onset dementia. And the curious thing about that is people, the initial signs of it, they just get meaner and meaner and meaner. Except my mama's always been mean, so we can't even really tell. Is it
dementia or is she having a bad day?
And I think that when somebody who has dementia, when they've abused you, then it's fair for you to get dementia too. That way we can all forget shit together.
Temporary dementia.
Like, I don't know you. I don't know you either. Like and daughters and women are they're more nuanced. They're more forgiving. Like my sister goes, Mama doesn't remember anything. You go see her. I said, Mama doesn't remember nothing. She said, no. I said, well, tell her I just left. I'm not. I just think the things now that I have experienced now. Even that whole conversation we were having earlier, I want to give grace to the ideas that I could never have embraced before. Because, you know, I never thought I would love children as much as my own children, but I love my grandchildren way more.
Oh, really? You love your grandkids more than your kids?
Well, close.
It's close.
No,
okay.
Yeah, I do. I just don't.
You do?
I called my daughter, how you doing? Put the kids, she said, hey, Daddy, put the kids on the phone. I ain't. You had your chance.
You had your
chance.
Oh, my God. You dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm on 2.0 now,
right,
okay?
Right.
I failed in 1.0.
I got the redo. I just think I am now, we were talking earlier, there are things, allowances I would make for myself and for other people that I never would have had before. There's a level of grace that I am willing and should be willing to extend to somebody, because on this other side of it, I realized that striding, I would never and I could never, and it's so rigid. It's almost like the most erudite human beings and the most humane people I've ever met weren't religious. They just did what they did. And the people who are the most voracious readers of people and religions are like, I know people that have read the Torah, the Talmud, the Quran, the Bible, all the holy books, but have no connection to religion. And they're the best human beings I've ever met. And it's because it isn't transactional. If I believe you, you'll give me this. If I don't believe you, I get that. It's just that they just want to know and they just want to be human. So I think the more you take in, the more you understand, the more you realize how connected we are as people.
That's where we're going to end it. DL Hughley, until next time. Man. Peace. And before we go, though, we're going to do a special section, which we're about to roll out.
I can't wait. Now move. Let me get over here now. So this is a weird thing for me because I'm on the other side of the camera.
That's right. You can't see you right now.
No. Your best feeling, orgasm or a great meal?
Orgasm.
Yeah, well, you're young.
But it's a great meal.
After a while. What would you just turned 50.
52.
So you're a young man.
Okay.
What would the 52-year-old you tell the 32-year-old you?
Oh, man. I've been actually thinking about this recently. I think that the 32-year-old Vlad would be relieved that everything I've been working for actually worked out at the end. Because at 32, there's a lot of uncertainty. I had no idea where my life is going to go. I was barely scraping by. I was trying to do the entertainment thing. I was trying to do the DJ thing, but it wasn't really working out at the level I wanted it to.
Right.
So I think that he would just be relieved that I've accomplished all the things I've been working on all these years.
Why do you think you're here? Why do you think you got here? Because I hear a lot of people talking to me about their faith or their perseverance or their tenacity. But why is it that you are here right now? What do you attribute it to? Is it you? Is it past you? Is it?
I mean, you're not going to say that there wasn't some luck involved. Because for me to be doing video full time right when YouTube became a real business was just lucky. And for me to recognize the fact that YouTube is going to be the platform that it ultimately became, I mean, there was some thought behind it, and my computer science background definitely helped out, but there's been lots of platforms that came and went. You know, Vine came and went, MySpace came and went, and so forth. A lot of people devoted their whole lives into it and ultimately didn't work out. So I think it was the fact that I just believed that I would make it. I just felt that no matter who around me didn't see the vision, I saw the vision. And I knew that eventually something would happen because I've always felt that work is never wasted. Now, you could be working in the wrong direction and you could feel like it's a dead end, but all the things that you've done up to that point will help you in a different field. You see what I'm saying? So like at one point I tried to be a producer. Like I was making beats like all through college, a few years after college.
Right.
One day I just woke up and said, I'm just never going to be Dr. Dre. I'm never going to be DJ Premier. There's something within those guys. I'm never going to be Rick Rubin. Like there's something internal in these guys that have a musical ability that I can't seem to capture, no matter how many hours I work at it.
Right.
But then when I went to DJing, all those years of making beats and working in, Pro Tools and those type of, computer programs paid off, and I became an award-winning DJ. I won Mixtape of the Year, I won Mashup of the Year, and so forth. So all this stuff that I felt was a waste ultimately turned out to be fruitful.
Like Karate Kid, yeah.
Like that, and I felt, for example, like, after high school, I went to UC Berkeley, I got a computer science degree. And I remember when I was first starting my DJ career, I'm thinking, damn, like I'm turning 30 in New York as I'm DJing. I'm relatively a new DJ. You had all these DJs like Kid Capri and Flex who started when they were teenagers and they have all this, they had a head up on me. And I felt like, damn, like this hurt me by not pursuing music earlier on. But you fast forward to Vlad TV, my computer science background allowed me to build a back end to Vlad TV that no one else could build.
Right.
And the fact that we have a relatively small team who could pump out 10, 15 clips a day, that has to do with all my tech background. So as long as you keep working and learning things and figuring out how to pivot, I think eventually you will make it. You just may not make it in the direction that you're heading to, but you have to know how to pivot along the way. And there has to be some luck along the way too.
But I think I disagree. I think there are a lot of lucky motherfuckers that didn't do what they did. I think that luck is the moniker we hang on things. What color is love to you?
Ooh.
If I said, what does love look like, what color would it be? Is it black? Is it blue? Is it violet? Is it red? Is it
Purple.
green? Of course.
Purple. Yeah.
You know, most people say that. You know why?
Why is that?
Love is the color of a bruise.
Oh, bruise. Love hurts.
They always say, because it's black and red, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Because people always ask me, this is always an interesting thing. What do you think, if you were controlling things, you would want people to think of you? What would you like for them to think of you?
I would want them to realize how passionate I am about this thing that we do here. Like these interviews and the legacy behind them and the stories I get and the emotion that I bring out in people and all the work behind it, like it's very pure and it's all encompassing. It's not just a way to make money. There's no ulterior motives. I'm not trying to put people in bad positions and so forth. Most people I try to put in better positions. I think that I've transformed a lot of people's lives. People have whole careers, after they've done Vlad TV interviews. So I just want them to know how passionate I am about it. So a lot of times when you see me acting out, when like, for example, like the Marlon Wayans incident where, right. I said I acted like a jerk. I put out a whole bunch of personal info, based on what we had conversations over and so forth. Like it was just based on, I just really wanted to do that interview. That's really what I wanted to do. And I wanted the ability to do it that made financial sense. And ultimately, when it didn't happen, I just got frustrated and I lashed out. Right. And I was going through a really dark time. You know me, you know what I was going through during that time. And it played out badly. And I apologize for it. But it was just due to the passion. I don't know if a lot of people have that type of passion for interviews. A lot of people like look at them as just side hustles or just a way to make money.
I think a lot of people have that kind of passion. I think that sometimes people end up dead because of it. Like I think, I really do. I think that see, you can. I think it's my opinion. I think people have a few great days, a lot of shitty days, and most days you don't remember. The greatest day of your life, what do you remember the most? The most indelible moment of your life, what do you remember the most? I had some great questions, don't I? I had some great fucking questions, didn't I?
Yeah. Oddly enough, one of the greatest days was when I took my last final at UC Berkeley.
Why?
Because I was so done with school at that point. And you're talking about 18, I was about 24. I'd been going to school since I was from 5 years old to 24. So like 20 years of my life have been spent going to school and doing this process, but I never really loved school like that. I was really more into working.
Right.
You know, I had jobs since I was in junior high.
So about
actually.
to go, you had to finish.
But I knew I had to finish. I knew that I had to complete this. I knew I had to get a diploma. I wanted my grades. I think I had like a B+ average or something like that. Nothing spectacular, but still had a solid average in a very hard major. And the fact that I actually went all the way through it and I actually finished it and it was completed, I knew I was never going back to school again.
Right.
Like I knew there's not going to be a master's. I kicked around the idea of a law degree, but I never really went forward with it. I just knew that I was done. And it just felt good to finish a project that took 20 years to complete. And that's, you know, I talk about this with some of my guests. You see adults that go through high school or go through college and go through this multi-decade process of achieving something, and then they enter the workforce, and the first thing they want to do is flip some money. You know, they want something, you know, they want their job to promote them quickly, that they want to take whatever money and flip it and churn it into $1 million and throw it all into crypto and whatever else. And I've done some stupid stuff like that as well. But I think people need to realize that anything worthwhile takes a long time, 5, 10, 20 years to put together.
But you only know that because you've had the continuum of experiences. You only know that.
This is true.
You're a 52-year-old man who has. What is your worst day? The day that you think about? Because we can't. You can't make a chocolate cake without salt.
Yeah. My worst day, I mean, the whole Farrakhan cancel thing was definitely bad. Just
Why?
a series of bad days. Because I felt like I couldn't trust anybody, right? You know, obviously I could trust you, but at the time, people who I thought were my friends, who actually were my friends, you know? But at that moment, I was having heartfelt conversations with people only for those people to turn around and make videos out of those conversations and to start skewing those conversations to make me look bad. And at the time, I made the wrong decision of not publicly replying. So I was quietly seeing everything kind of pile on top of me. Now, look, I mean, that's not really my worst day. My worst day was, I mean, now that I'm actually thinking about it, because at the end of the day, only thing that happened was just some social media stuff.
Man.
At the end of the day, the company was fine, my family was fine, and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a home invasion situation happen where someone jumped in through a window. I've talked about this story before. I was with a girl and a guy jumped in through the window and basically asked me if I was ready to die, as he was essentially on top of me, pretending like he had a gun. That was definitely a moment that I thought I was going to die. That was probably the worst moment, but I ultimately ended up turning it around.
Right.
And I walked out of the room thinking I'd killed him. So it ended up being, it was like the worst day that in a way turned into the greatest day because that moment changed my life forever.
Why?
Because all my fear went away. Like I really had this, people could intimidate me up to that point. People could scare me out of my position.
You know what I mean? Knock you off your square. Yeah, they can knock you off your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember even like, I remember being a DJ. I've never really talked about this story before. Being a DJ in Oakland, and there was a guy that basically is like some street guy that was just mad that I was getting booked for shows that started just kind of muscle in on me and started demanding that I put him on. And, you know, it turned into a whole thing. Other people had to get involved, but he was really like punking me. And I remember the feeling I had being punked as an adult because this guy was more reckless than I was. You see what I'm saying? And he ended up beating up one of my friends and it was all like a mess. So I was always somewhat scared of certain types of people and intimidation, and people could kind of get me off my square. But that night, I just proved to myself that if you put me up against the wall, I'm going to try to kill you. Like if you try to kill me, I will try to kill you.
Rats learn that too. They
Who?
do. The people, the thing that I think is funny, about most people is they don't understand how, when you say he's an animal, that's the greatest compliment.
Yeah.
Because animals are the most humane beings, and they only kill for food and protection.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I'm not a tough guy. I don't look for fights on any level, but to know that being put in that situation, I will protect myself and I will escalate it all the way to the point of thinking I killed somebody and not having a problem with it afterwards. Basically thinking, fuck him, good riddance. You know, walking out of that room because it's like, yo, it was either him or me. So that changed my whole trajectory in life. And I don't think Vlad TV would have happened if I was the old Vlad.
Mm-hmm. What do you thank yourself for?
Thank myself for?
Yeah, what do you, like, I believe that if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't be here. And I thank myself for giving myself grace, and sometimes I thank myself for being a disciplinarian. What are the things you are thankful for that are internal? What things do you think? Because that's an example of a story, that story right there. Surviving that story means that there had to be perspective that you grew from. What do you thank yourself for?
I think I thank myself for, like, I'm always motivated to do something. And I see some of my friends from my past that have never really gone after the things they talk about. They'll talk about it. They'll say one day they're going to do this, one day they're going to do that. Like, if anyone that knows me knows that I actually will go and do that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I said, as a suburban white kid who grew up in the suburbs, you know, of San Mateo, California, not a hip hop place at all. Like, no major artists have ever come out of that city. That I'm going to go to New York and become a major DJ, and I'm going to get into this hip hop thing and be, one of the main voices in it and so forth. Like, nobody believed that. My mom didn't believe it. I remember even when she drove me to the airport to go to New York, she was basically telling me how I'm wasting my life and I'm running away from responsibility and so forth. I was crying as a 29-year-old man hearing my mom say that, because my mom never really understood what I did. But knowing that I still had the tenacity and still had the drive to keep going after things when for a long time they were not working out. Like it took me from the point that I, had a lot of money, went broke, to the point where I had a decent amount of money again. 10 years passed. It was a lot of, being homeless, sleeping on my friends' couches, then getting a small, a small little apartment in Brooklyn, like a studio in a shitty neighborhood. Like, it was a lot to go through.
What do you forgive yourself for?
I forgive myself for getting it wrong a lot of times.
That's nebulous. What do you mean?
Well, like, there was a version of me that would, even when I was wrong, I would still stand on it. And I think the Farrakhan situation was a good example of that, where, like, I realized shortly afterwards that there was more to this video and I could just take full responsibility for it, but I'm just standing on, my own bullshit at that point. And I think that over time, and a lot of it is like people around you are saying, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, listening to certain people and so forth. And at one point I just had to realize that, like, I'm just going to get it wrong sometimes. And when I get it wrong, let me publicly say that I'm getting it wrong and address it, not only publicly at that moment, but then keep addressing it in, interviews. Like the whole thing with, like, the Princeton professor that I went back and forth with. I had to go forward and say, listen, I was just trolling. I never intended her to lose her job or anything else like that. I never called Princeton University. I was just trolling. I thought she was trolling me, so I'm trolling her back. But it's now being perceived as this white guy is trying to get this black woman fired. Like, this was not my intention at all. I'm arguing with the Princeton professor. That, to me, supersedes race and gender and so forth. These are people at... I went to UC Berkeley. She's a professor at Princeton. We're having intellectual debate right now. I didn't think it would devolve into race and gender.
It's East Coast, West Coast, though.
Yeah, it was like that. But, once I saw the way that it was being perceived, I'm like, okay, listen, I'm sorry. I never want this woman to be fired. I don't. An internet back and forth shouldn't result in someone losing their job. And ultimately, she didn't lose her job.
Are you a better friend, a better professional, a better father, a better listener? What is your best attribute? Like, what if I were your, what is your best attribute? What do you think you do better than you do anything else?
I mean, unfortunately, it's a better professional.
That's not unfortunate.
No, I think it's unfortunate because I need to work on those other parts more. And I feel that sometimes I lean back on the professional part and let the other parts go without a lot of attention. And I think sometimes I feel that, well, the money will make up for
everybody does.
The time. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can't do this and so forth as a friend or a father or whatever, but I'll get you something cool. I'll pay for this. I'll cover this expense. I'll do this. And I know that's not a real thing. I know this is not, it's just a Band-Aid. It's not an actual cure. So I'm hoping that as I get older and as I start to do this job a little bit less and start to kind of slowly retire, that I will spend a lot more time being a better friend, a better father, a better listener, and so forth.
What is the greatest quote you ever heard?
I mean, Warren Buffett, he changed my life. We said, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. That was a big quote that really affected me. 48 Laws of Power. In competition, never go past your mark. Once you win, you stop. That's helped out a lot because you could turn a victory into a defeat by continuously, spiking the ball and mocking the person that you just beat. Because ultimately a lot of people you compete with at one point could turn into your allies, could turn into your friends.
If you don't emasculate.
If you don't emasculate them and put them down and so forth. Like, we've all lost at certain parts of our life.
Way more than we want to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to keep grudges going and so forth. Watching the Vince McMahon documentary really kind of changed me because I saw a person that was just pure business. I've never really seen that before because he would have people leave his company, trash talk him, sue him, win the lawsuits, and he'd bring him back and work with him again. He'd incorporate those lawsuits into the storyline, and everyone makes more money. And it's just not personal. And I feel like over time, and that's what led to, for example, like me, reuniting with people like Lord Jamar, because it's like, there was some personal stuff that was said and so forth, but at the end of the day, there is a basis of a relationship and there is a potential business here and so forth, and let's just all get off our bullshit and work it out.
Or see if we can work it out.
Or see if we can work it out. You can't work it out with everybody, but a lot of people you can, especially if there was a real relationship to begin with.
Of course. This is my last question. So I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you a question, and I want to say the very first thing, no thought, no preconceived notion. If I asked you to close your eyes and in one word tell me who you are, what would it be?
Hardworking.
That's 2 words. 1.
Worker.
If you didn't get, like,
worker.
If no one understood you, right? You landed on this island, right? Nobody understood you. Nobody knew who you were. They didn't have ID. They didn't have, and you got to make these people know who the fuck you are.
Worker. I'm a worker. I will get shit done. I'll put some shit together. I will, like, for example, look, did you graduate high school?
I'm going to.
You're going to. Okay. So when I say this is not a shot at you on any level.
On any level,
right? Like when you talk to people, like for example, when I interviewed like Young MC, who graduated college, and we talked about this, about how going to college, a lot of people like to say that it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a scam, you get loans that last forever and so forth. But the thing about college is it teaches you how to finish things. Anybody can start a project. Starting a project is the easiest thing in the world. Finishing a project and actually completing it and releasing it to the world, regardless of how the world takes it, but actually finishing it, even if you don't release it, just the fact that you have done it, that's not something everybody could do. And going to college taught me how to do that, grudgingly sometimes. That's why when I graduated, I knew I was done, but at least I knew how to finish things. And the ability to finish things throughout my life means everything, because there's so many brilliant people I know that they just have great ideas that never go anywhere. But the fact that I could actually finish it, the fact that I thought in my head, I'm going to pick up a video camera. I've never taken a lesson or gone to school for it. I'll just figure it out, and I'll put out a straight DVD, and then, okay, I'll put out YouTube videos, and I'll build a company around it, and so forth. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I just felt that I could finish projects, and some of those projects will do well, some of them won't, but there'll be a new project the next day. And by doing that over and over and over again, you can't lose if you do that. You may not win right away, but in the long term, you'll never lose by working hard and finishing things that you start.
If you looked at your life, there are people who know you, people who think they know you, right?
Yeah.
If you looked at the people who know you and the people who think they know you, what would be the thing that made you feel the most certain? What would be the consistent thing? What is it the people that think they know you and the people that really know you, what do they have in common? What is the thing that what the place you land where you go, okay, I can accept these things?
I think that everyone around me sees me as a provider. And that's okay. I like that. Like I at any given moment, I'm supporting about a dozen people. You know what I mean? Between employees between employees, family, friends, like a friend of mine got his, he lost a tooth and he can't afford to get a new tooth until like next year. So I'm like, I'll just lend you the money.
Yeah, I can't hear you walk around with a layaway.
Yeah, literally front tooth is just gone. I've known him since elementary school. So
you can't even whistle, nigga.
Exactly. Yeah, he looks crazy. He took the tooth out of my apartment. I'm like, goddamn, put that tooth back in.
Right.
No, but it's like little moments like that I could just buy an old friend a tooth, because I know that he doesn't have the money because he has 2 kids and he has child support and so forth, and he's scraping by. Like everyone around me knows that if they really have a situation, they can come to me. And I personally don't know anyone that I can go to, in a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't ask you for $50,000. I wouldn't feel comfortable. You see what I'm saying? Regardless of whether you have it or not. But there's people in my life that if they have a serious situation, they need $50,000 or else, they could come to me for it. You see what I'm saying? So I think provider, I don't think anyone can deny that part. They could have other things they say about me and so forth, but they know that I provide.
It's funny, whenever I hear the things people say about me, whether they're good or bad, I never recognize them. Because I think that all of us have a level of vanity we want to kind of control the narrative to the extent that we can. Mm-hmm. We go, this is who I am. But it's almost like if you hear yourself on a recording, it took you a long time before you got used to your sound because it doesn't sound like
Yeah, listen to my voice every day or something. That took a while. Yeah.
Right, because you hear yourself from the inside out.
Yeah, it's a different voice. Right? Yeah.
Do you think that you are now, or at least on the path to now, to being somebody who everybody recognizes? Like I'm not talking about, that's Vlad, but I'm talking about the people who like you describe you one way, the people who don't like you describe you one way, you believe yourself another way. But all of those spinning tops have a center where you go, I recognize this guy out of all those people.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because as time goes on, people have realized that what I've been doing the whole time is really what the world ended up doing overall.
Probably.
Like, I was called the police in 2008. All these interviews are like my interviews now.
Right.
Like, all those questions and all the type of ways that I went about things. You know, like, for example, I tweeted today, I said, well, did I invent clipping? Because when you look at clipping these days, I was doing that in 2008.
Right.
Someone said, oh, that was Vine. I'm like, this was 5 years before Vine.
Right.
Vine wasn't even invented yet.
Right.
Twitter was just launching. So, like, the kind of things that I've been doing back then, a lot of people have used as blueprints to make millions of dollars and have done great with it. And I'm super happy. And a lot of those people I've embraced, like the Charlemagnes, the Sean Cottons, the Adam 22s, the academics, like all these people. And to have this community of hip hop media people that all rock with each other and they're all doing each other's shows. Like, there was this podcast, it was like me, Adam 22, academics, Whack 100, Traplo Ross. It was like all different people from different walks of life, different ages, different ethnicities, you know, different backgrounds, different religions, but we're all working together to create these cool products and we're all supporting each other. And I just love that. And I love how I kind of have this sort of elder role, like this sort of kind of godfather role in this whole thing, which is not anything I really expected to when I was younger. And to influence so many people and to have so many people be successful and to reach back out and you know, thank me in their own way, not money wise or anything else like that, you know, is incredible, man. And I just feel lucky to be here.
You sound like an elder now.
Yeah, I'm 52.
Yeah.
I mean, hip hop, I'm damn near ancient.
When did you know, like this is going to be my last question. What physical thing let you know that you were in your 50s? Like, for me, I woke up one day and my whole back was hurting. I was like, what the fuck did I do? I didn't do shit.
That, yeah. That happened to me.
When did you know you were like...
Oh, yeah, that exact thing happened to me in January. I was actually in a hotel room in Beverly Hills. And I was just on my laptop, right? I was, poor posture, mind you. I was like, you know, cross-legged on my laptop. And I had this huge spasm in my back. And I fell back in my bed. And I'm like, okay, this will pass in a couple minutes. And it wasn't passing. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I'm like, well, I got to go to the doctor. I had an interview later that day. I'm like, I got to go to the doctor, but I can't walk. Like, so I had to go on ZocDoc, make an appointment with a back doctor, and just force myself to get in the car and get there. It was so painful. When I got there, they gave me like muscle relaxers and pain medication. It took a couple of weeks for it to even, you know.
What did you do to make it happen? What happened?
Nothing happened. I was just sitting in bed. It was just poor posture. Now, you know, I was having an orgy and, 3 hours in. No, it wasn't like that. It literally, I was just sitting there doing nothing. I wasn't working out. But I think a lot of it also, I was going through a bunch of chaos in my life during that time, over those couple of months, and I wasn't working out. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't taking care of my body. And I think that was also...
You were 52. That's all that happened.
Yeah, but I realized that when I work out, my body's generally stronger, and less stuff like that happens. So, yeah. But I realized, I'm in my 50s, and sitting in bed could turn into a 3-week injury. It was kind of... Woo,
whatever you do right there, 3 weeks in bed turned to a 2-week injury is where you cut. That's fucking hilarious, man.
That's what it is. My man.